Hello and welcome to the This Works For Me Virtual Summit. I'm your host, Firm Faith Watson. I am the director of the Faculty Development Center at Murray State University. In this summit, I will be having conversations with individuals who will be sharing practical strategies that have worked for them. And we hope that you will find many of these strategies useful to help you succeed in higher education and beyond. With me today is Dr. Jennifer Brown. Dr. Brown, thank you very much for taking the time to share with us today.
You're welcome.
Great, it's good to have you. So I'm going to yield the floor to you for a moment to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
All right. I am an associate professor of educational foundations at Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia. I am the program coordinator for a master's level program that involves 100% online instruction to in-service teachers across the state of Georgia. And recently, I took on the role of director of the doctoral program in education.
Wow, you have a lot going on there, and I'm really excited to really delve into this conversation with you. So the title of your strategy is Improving the Relationship Between Students and Faculty. Could you help us understand what impressed you to start using this strategy?
All right. I began my career about 20 years ago as a classroom teacher at the secondary level for special ed and math. And obviously I taught every day face-to-face with students. And then when I moved into higher education about 8 years ago, I found that I was teaching students who wanted to be teachers in an online environment. So I wanted to create that same face-to-face environment that I would have if I were seeing them every day, but I wanted to create it in the online learning environment.
Wow. And so what are some of the strategies that have worked for you to improve your relationship with students?
All right. The first thing is on the first week of class, I have everyone introduce themselves to me. I also introduce myself to them. Some classes I create an avatar, some classes I use a Powtoons video, but I also introduce myself on the discussion board. And so as the students go through and introduce themselves, I respond back to them. I ask questions, are you from this area? Why did you choose education? Teaching the pre-service teachers, I have some students who are career switchers. They have changed their major or they've gotten a degree in another area and have decided to move into teaching. So I prompt them, just as if you would greet a student that came into the classroom as you're standing at the door and talking to them, the small talk. After the first week of class, I kind of break them into groups. I break them into small groups. That's beneficial for me as the instructor. I can get to know a few students and respond to those students of commonalities I see in their responses on the discussion board. And I've also found it's beneficial for the students because they can have that collegial relationship and really get to know the students that are in their classroom. The other thing in the online discussion board, I have what they call a muddiest point forum. And that's just a way for students to ask me questions as well as they can ask other faculty, other colleagues in the class. I find, particularly in my master's level program, the students will answer the questions before I respond to them, which is very helpful. And I kind of equate it to the small talk that you would have with the faculty member or the small talk you would have with the students during break time or before class starts. When's this assignment due and what do I need to do for this? Have you found any ideas for this? That simple correspondence you lose in the online atmosphere if you're not creating some place for them to interact with each other. So I have found that muddiest point forum to be very successful. The other thing, I have two little ones, so lots of times I just kind of show them what I'm doing in my world. And it may be something as simple as, for instance, I just posted a picture of my 4-year-old making slime. And just simple little things like that they can see that I'm a human, that I'm a real person, and I have a family, and I have a variety of things that go on outside of the classroom. And again, that develops that connection to them, a meaningful connection, so that it's not just I'm a person that's on the other end of a computer grading their assignments and not really giving them any input other than this was correct or this is incorrect.
Wow, I really like that. I think some of the viewers listening, they might be saying, oh, I wish I were in your class. So speaking of that, what has been the response from students? How has this really worked for you?
The students have been very receptive. Many of my students, particularly in the master's level courses, they're all over the state of Georgia. And the state of Georgia, you can travel 6 hours and either way, and you're still in the state of Georgia. So we're really spread out, North Georgia, South Georgia. So the students comment that they feel like they're sitting in my classroom, even though we're hundreds of miles apart. They really enjoy the pictures of doing things with my children, or comments, or even sometimes, for instance, last year when we had the eclipse, I was teaching a curriculum course, and I was like, okay, well, are you deviating from your classroom curriculum to include the eclipse? Because the tip of Georgia had 100% darkness with the eclipse, so that chimed into a lot of students gave input of what they were doing from pre-K all the way to high school, of how they were trying to incorporate, even though it wasn't a science class, how they were trying to bring that into the classroom. So they really liked I guess you'd say, the anecdotal, the side stuff from it. And many students comment that they are shocked that, one, that I participate on the discussion boards with them, and two, that I give them the feedback, just by saying, hi, welcome to the class. Through their course evaluations and their individual correspondence with me, they seem to really appreciate that. They feel like I'm taking that extra time that you would do automatically if you had a face-to-face classroom.
Right. It seems as if it's just some of the little things that you do that, we often take for granted. Responding to the students on the discussion board, really letting them feel like they're a part of small group activities. And that really has worked for me too, as an online course manager. And when I used to teach, for another university, the students really liked it. And it really show up also in your course evaluation too as well. So those are our great strategies. So I imagine that there might be someone out there saying, Dr. Brown, this strategy really sounds good, and I want to do it, but I am not quite sure. What are some preliminary first steps that they could think about as they really try to implement some of the strategies that you have mentioned?
All right. I would start small, start 1 or 2 things, and every time you teach the course, you can phase another one in. Especially with my master's level class, we started this process. I encourage my faculty to do it, that teach within the program, and they started about 3 years ago. And so we now have finally completed all of the coursework, and so that they are implementing a few strategies in each course. A great place to start is just doing the muddiest point forum, having a frequently asked question or some kind of open forum that students can respond to, and the students know that they can respond to other students. And that's a place to check before you ask a question of the instructor, see if it's already been asked on the muddiest point forum. The other option that we started with as baby steps is doing the small groups. And I randomly create mine. Some faculty choose to hand pick so that they group students strategically together. I just randomly pick them just because I like the mix. I think you can learn from all different grade levels and all different disciplines. I think if it's too homogeneous, the students, they don't learn as much as if they were a heterogeneous mix. So those are 2 small steps, and then as you master those, the next time you teach the course, you can add another step to increase your relationships with your students.
Wow, good advice. What would you say to our viewers today? Do you have a challenge or an encouragement to leave with them today?
I do. I would encourage you to talk with your colleagues in your department or your institution even in colleagues at other institutions, if you network with those colleagues, many of the ideas that I have incorporated into my classroom, not just with faculty-student relationships, but also prompt feedback and even formatting for discussion boards. I participate in Quality Matters peer review process, and it's almost as if I'm a guest in that instructor's classroom, and I get to observe how that class is set up. And I've been a part of multiple reviews, and every time I complete a review, I email that instructor and say, can I borrow this idea from my classroom? Because there's a wealth of ideas, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Just see what other colleagues are doing, and then you can take a piece of that and make it your own and incorporate it into your classroom, and then your students benefit from all these resources that you can pull together from a variety of locations.
I really like what you said. You mentioned Quality Matters, and for those of you who are at Morris State University, we are subscribed to Quality Matters. So if you'd like to find out more information about that resource, definitely contact me and to find out more about how we are using Quality Matters here. And I also like the point that you made, Dr. Brown, about the importance of collaboration, because even within this process, you were taking advantage. You were not just there as a reviewer, just looking in the course and checking off, is this course designed properly? You were actually getting ideas from the faculty members' course. And you did not stop there. You went and you actually are trying to implement some of those strategies. And I really like that. I think just in general, if we hear of a strategy out there, definitely, feel free to try it out and tell others about it. I know Dr. Brown mentioned that she encourages other faculty to use this strategy as well. So Dr. Brown, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, for taking the time to share with us today on such an important topic, really improving the relationship between faculty and students, particularly in the online environment. And for those of you who would like to share this conversation with others, please feel free to do so. All are welcome to subscribe. And for those of you who subscribe to our Teaching Tuesday newsletter, you will get the conversation right in your inbox each Tuesday. So please just feel free to share it with others, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of this Works For Me Virtual Summit. See you soon.